Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 2nd May, the news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 14. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, Pakistani troops kill, mutilate 2 soldiers. So this is regarding the recent incident which took place near the LOC in Pir Panjal Valley in Poonch district in Jammu and Kashmir. So here Pakistani troops killed 2 jawans and mutilated their bodies, and such incident had taken place earlier too. This was in November 2016 in the Machil sector when Pakistani troops had mutilated an Indian soldier. So we are seeing ceasefire violations along the LOC now increasing. This year itself around 65 ceasefire violations have already taken place. So here you see the earlier instances of bodies of Jawans mutilated. The most recent is this one. The next news item is Supreme Court orders Karnan to be medically examined. So this is regarding the Kolkata High Court judge, Justice C.S. Karnan. We have discussed him quite often now. So he is the first sitting judge against whom the Supreme Court has initiated contempt of court proceedings. So this contempt of court proceedings have been initiated against him because of the scurrilous letters which he wrote to the Prime Minister alleging corruption of various Supreme Court judges and High Court judges. So now Justice C.S. Karnan, actually later he said that because he belongs to the scheduled caste, that is why he's been targeted, and he initiated a case against this 7-judge bench who is hearing this contempt of court proceedings against him, and in this he is hearing the case that these judges are violating scheduled caste and scheduled tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act. So he is adjudicating them on that. He called them for the attendance too in Kolkata High Court, in his residence also. Of course, the judges would not go. So this is what his behavior has been. So now the Supreme Court, also the recent case which we heard, recent news last we discussed was that he has put a travel ban on the 7-judge bench, actually on 8 judges of the Supreme Court. So now the Supreme Court, this news is they have asked for conducting a medical examination of Justice C.S. Karnan. So the next news item is Rajasthan to set up bustard breeding center. So this is regarding great Indian bustard. So this is one of the most endangered bird species in India. So it's in the Indian bustard, the great Indian bustard, and this is also the state bird of Rajasthan. It's majorly found here only presently. So there are around 90 remaining in the wild of these great Indian bustard. They are present in Rajasthan, and this accounts for 95% of the total world population of great Indian bustard. So this is the case. The news presently is that Rajasthan has decided to set up bustard breeding centers. So the state-of-the-art egg hatching centers would be set up in the Desert National Park in Rajasthan, and here after the chicks of the great Indian bustard are hatched and they are raised, they would be reintroduced in the wild. So this is the idea. The captive breeding is what this is called. So this captive breeding has succeeded for many species. Examples given are of even the great bustard in Spain and also the Hobara in UAE. So this is being done for the first time now on the great Indian bustard. You can see the habitat threats to it are habitat destruction, hunting. The bird species also are remaining. So breeding is also becoming a case that, and see, you can see the size. So this in front of a hen, the size of the great bustard. So this is the largest land bird in India, and its location presently. So mainly it's confined to in Rajasthan. Small population also find in Gujarat and down south. The next news item is Rajiv case. Supreme Court wants report on larger plot. So this is regarding the assassination of then Prime Minister of India, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. So he was assassinated in 1991, and since then the CBI has been having an investigation done. There was a committee also set up. This is Justice M.C. Jain Commission of Inquiry to conduct a probe, and in 1997 this larger conspiracy angle was brought forth, that there was a larger conspiracy behind the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi. So now one of the accused in this case, who is behind bars, A.G. Perarivalan, he has filed a petition in the Supreme Court saying that effective probe has not been done into the larger conspiracy behind this killing of the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. So he's been asking the Supreme Court to look into the matter, and Supreme Court has asked the CBI to provide a detailed report of its entire investigation done so far, and also into the possible larger conspiracy as such, and submit it to the Supreme Court. So now it's looking into this aspect. The same accused here, Perarivalan, he had also filed his petition in the designated Tada court. But then at that time, this petition was rejected. Also, the Madras High Court had rejected his appeal. And now the Supreme Court has undertaken this, and he says justice should prevail. And if there is any larger conspiracy, then it should be probed into. So this is the case. You can see here there was a multidisciplinary monitoring agency also set up in the CBI to look into the Justice MC Jain Commission's recommendations and the larger conspiracy angle as well. So now this case has opened up. So we'll see what the Supreme Court will be having to say in this matter now. So this is all entire timeline given of how the case has gone ahead. And you should know this assassination took place on the behest of LTTE, Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, who were powerful in Sri Lanka. So they were the separatist groups in Sri Lanka here, and they were Tamils. So the Indian Tamil Nadu region, the Tamils here had also had soft corner for them, and the Tamils in Sri Lanka actually faced atrocities as well. That is why LTTE also was born. And right now we know that LTTE civil war has ended, LTTE has been eliminated. But then at that time LTTE was a huge threat for Sri Lanka, and it was felt that Indians also support LTTE. And Sri Lankan government then had asked then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, Indian Prime Minister, to assist them. So earlier negotiations were initially tried, that through negotiations if LTTE can be brought over and peace can be brought in Sri Lanka, bringing in a compromise, a deal. But that did not work out. And then Indian peacekeeping forces, IPKF, were brought in Sri Lanka, and they were stationed there to fight against the LTTE. So that assistance was sought from Sri Lanka, and India provided that assistance. And this had antagonized the grouping, and they had planned this assassination, and the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi took place. So this is the people who were involved here too. So these two, this lady, she actually tried to garlanded the Prime Minister and touched his feet and detonated the bomb which was trapped around her waist. The next news item is Centre allows beacon used for emergencies. So now we had earlier seen that beacons, the red light would not be allowed for anyone. The blue light would be allowed only for 3 cases. That is for the fire services, for the ambulance, and for the police. Now another notification has been issued allowing officials on emergency and disaster management related duties to use these beacons. So they would be using multicolored beacons. That is all 3, red, blue and white lights, as we see the 3 lines which are put. So these beacons can be there on top of official vehicles related to control of fire, police duty, defense forces, paramilitary forces, for maintenance of law and order, and also disaster management related duties. So this is the notification coming forth, but it clarifies that this can be there on only when they are on duty, not otherwise. So this is an extension of this ruling which has come now. And also this actually has to be, who would be allowed to have these multicolored beacons would be decided by the transport department of each state. So they will have to issue the notice that which are the list of authorities who are given this permission to use such multicolored beacon vehicles. The next news item is curious case of dip rise in Indian Ocean. So this is basically regarding North Indian Ocean. So North Indian Ocean consists of Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal and part of the Indian Ocean up to 5 degrees south latitude. So this is the North Indian Ocean. So presently for the first time the satellite data is available here. So the first decade when satellites started tracking the rise and fall of ocean heights and global temperatures. So from 1993 to 2003 we see that the sea levels fell. So since global warming has initiated, we know that as ice melts from the glaciers, the sea level rises. So here this is an anomaly. Here you can see that the sea level is dipping rather than rising. So from 1993 to 2003 in this North Indian Ocean region, sea levels fell, and then from 2004 till 2015 we are seeing an accelerated unprecedented spike, increase in sea levels. So you can see the rates are also shown here. So it was going down by 0.3 millimeter a year from 2003 to 1993 to 2003, and from 2004 onwards when it started gaining increase in sea level, it was 6 millimeter per year. So this is 0.3 millimeter fall, but 6 millimeter means a huge amount of spike in sea levels. So this you can see, this 6 millimeters, twice of 3 millimeter, which is the global average annual rise in sea levels too. So this has been coming forth from the study, the data coming from the satellites now. This is also been reported by IPCC. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has also stated that unabated greenhouse gas emissions results in atmosphere changing, climate change, and the oceans would rise every year. But then there would be years during which some seas would register a fall as well. So this is also known. The reason for this, that why is this sea level falling? Why was it falling? The reason is given as wind flows. So wind flows as such, when they well the warm water of the Indian Ocean surface, the changed direction. In a decade also, the changes of the direction of these winds, they influence the sea level patterns, is what is understood. Then the next news item is ASEAN wants strong ties with China. So this is regarding ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So here these nations, this is a grouping formed in 1967. This was its 50th summit now here in 2017 in Manila, in Philippines. So here the approach towards China was mild. ASEAN wants stronger ties with China, and it has agreed to complete a framework of code of conduct in the South China Sea, that how the disputes here should be resolved through self-restraint and through direct negotiations. So this is what they are working on. Also RCEP with respect to ASEAN is in use. So RCEP is Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. So these negotiations are going on between ASEAN and 6 other nations, out of which one is India as well. So first you should know which are the ASEAN members, and we'll see these 6 members as well. So you can see here, formed in 1967, and this is not just for economic integration, but it also talks of social progress and socio-cultural evolution. So these are the aims of ASEAN. So these ASEAN nations, they comprise of, if you look at the map too, so here you can see, so ASEAN nation Myanmar has a border with India as well. This is the Northeast India. So Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam and Cambodia here, these nations. So this is Myanmar, it comes down till south, down here. Thailand also goes down till here. And then you have Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore here, and you have Brunei, a small nation here, and there is also Philippines. So these are the nations, 10 nations which comprise of Asia. The 6 nations with which it has this RCEP, there's another grouping called ASEAN +3 which was formed, and then the +3 others have been added. So +3 grouping comprise of China, Japan and South Korea. So they are the close neighbors here up north, and the +6 later, 3 others apart from India are Australia, New Zealand. So Australia, New Zealand come down here, and India is a neighbor here. So these 6 nations, China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, India, are the ones with which RCEP is being negotiated, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. So this is a free trade agreement being negotiated. Then next news item is SpaceX makes first US military launch. So SpaceX is a private aerospace company which is headed by billionaire tycoon Elon Musk. So this company has presently made its first US military launch. So it is based in California, USA, and this has been in news earlier too for its Falcon 9 rocket. We have seen that how the Falcon 9 rocket, the first stage of the rocket, comes back to Earth too. So even in this launch also, the Falcon 9 first stage came back to Earth and landed upright on Cape Canaveral, where this satellite launches take place. So it made a solid ground landing. So this is a huge achievement also. So this means that rockets generally do not come back, and that results in they're not being reusable. So this reusability is very important because these are costly parts. So this is what SpaceX is also working on. It's pioneering this, and the news presently is of a military launch which it has done. So this military organization of USA, National Reconnaissance Office, this operates the spy satellites of USA. So this NROL 76 was a satellite, the US military satellite, which was launched by SpaceX on Falcon 9 rocket. So that's the news. The next news item is government eyes 2 million jobs in mobile phone units. So this is regarding the new government policy which has been notified now. So this is the phased manufacturing program for mobile phones. So this policy is expected to create jobs and bring in foreign exchange into the country. So this will happen over the next 5 to 7 years. So what this phased manufacturing program wants is that it has prepared a roadmap for the next 10 years how value addition should take place in India in phone manufacturing. So even Apple wants to set up its manufacturing base in India. So here again, after this new policy coming in place, renegotiation would be required, and how talks should be held so that how Apple can also bring in its manufacturing unit here in line with the new policy. So actually we had suffered too, because this is the ITA agreement of information technology agreement of WTO, World Trade Organization, which we had signed. So ITA 1 pact has been signed by us. In ITA 2 we have been reluctant, because in this what happens is many IT products are exempted from duties. So this has resulted in this going against the Make in India initiative, which we are emphasizing on. So the products, IT products coming from abroad are made to be exempt from duties. So that is why now this phased manufacturing program of mobile phones, which has been initiated, this is calling for how gradually manufacturing should take place in India only for various components. So it has the complete timeline given here, you can see. So this is what is expected, that we should promote sub-assembly of mechanics, microphones and receivers, keypad, USB cables, etc. in the present financial year 17-18. Then printed circuit boards, camera modules, connectors can be targeted next financial year. Display assembly, touch panels, even vibrator motor and ringers can be targeted next year for phased manufacturing in India. Then the next news item is Niti Aayog for abolishing 2% duty on mobile phone circuits. So this is again a suggestion which has come forth through the draft 3-year action plan, which the Niti Aayog is discussing presently. So in this it has suggested that the mobile phones could become cheaper in the country if government accepts this proposal. So this proposal is to drop the 2% import duty which is imposed on critical components for handsets. So this has been brought in budget 2017-18 itself, and Niti Aayog's suggestion is that we should not build a wall of protection for the domestic manufacturers. So this again goes against what we are talking of phased manufacturing. Here Niti Aayog's suggestion is on the other side. It says that India has the potential to become a large electronics manufacturer and exporter. So the foreign companies will come and establish their base here if they are facilitated here. So that's what it is talking of, that we can have manufacturers, exporters here. We have a large labor force. We have a huge domestic market as such too. Even we have proximity to economies where the electronics value chain is strong. So that is why we should take advantage of it and not put import duty on critical components. So this is not talking of mobile phones in general. It's talking of critical components specifically. So this, it wants to India to tap the world market of electronics. So we should also become credibly prepared for the 4th industrial revolution. So what is this 4th industrial revolution? This is the Aayog statement. So what is this 4th industrial revolution also you should know. So first revolution, the industrial revolution which we know about and study in history, is regarding steam power being understood, and then steam engines established. So that is mechanization began. So this is the first industrial revolution. The second industrial revolution was when assembly line initiated, mass production became possible. So this was second. Third industrial revolution was when computers came and automation was possible. And now the 4th industrial revolution is when these mechanics only, the machines, are interconnected. You can see the Wi-Fi symbol here. So this is called the cyber physical system. So they can be automated and function independently entirely as a unit. So this is the case. The next 5% in March. So the 8 core industries grew by 5% in March 2017, but these are still lower than last year. 9.3% was the growth then. So these 8 core industries has been asked by UPSC in prelims earlier too, and this is very important. So these are the core industries as such, and they comprise around 38% by weight in the IIP, Index of Industrial Production. And amongst these 8 core industries too, the maximum weightage is given to electricity. You can see 10.32% weightage is for electricity. And this is in that order. The least weightage is for fertilizers. So you should know each of these. So there is electricity, then crude oil is also included, petroleum refinery products separately included, natural gas also part of this, coal. So these are, you can see, energy sources also, then steel, which is essential for industries, cement, even for construction, infrastructure industry, fertilizers as such too. So these comprise of the 8 core industries. So this you can see the sector-wise growth and sector-wise details are also given. So there are three major aspects. One is with respect to mining, manufacturing and electricity. So electricity is one of the 8. So you can see 10.32% was its weightage. Manufacturing has the maximum weightage in IIP. So 75.53% is for manufacturing and mining makes 14.16%. So this is the case here. And then it can be classified, the goods in the IIP, Index of Industrial Production, can be classified on various bases. So this is in terms of whether it's a basic good, capital good, or intermediate good, or even consumer good, they are classified here. So that is not important. The 8 core industries which are there, which has maximum weightage, what is overall weightage, manufacturing amongst the 3 which has maximum weightage in IIP manufacturing, all these facts are important, you should know. The next is employment under PMEGP falls 9.5%. So this is the data coming from ASSOCHAM. So PMEGP, Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. So this was a program which was initiated in 2008 for development of small and medium enterprises. So the employment generation programs then were merged together, and this was a scheme as such applicable for both rural and urban areas. So this is the program for both rural and urban areas. So it promotes micro enterprises, first line of entrepreneurs. So it's the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME, which looks into this scheme's implementation too. So here you can see the various provisions under this. Credit Guarantee Fund Trust is there for micro and small enterprises. Marketing assistance and technology upgradation program is there for them. Entrepreneur development programs, then entrepreneur development of SMEs through incubators. So all these are there. So the data about them have been provided here. But of course, all this is not important. At least you should know what is this PMEGP as such. So here it is given, you can see. Empower first generation entrepreneurs, initiated in 2008. Then the next news item is fixed tent prices based on technology. So we have seen this earlier, that the tent prices in February 2017, it was decided by the government that the prices cannot be exceeding a limit. So this threshold has been placed. So for bare metal stents, the prices have been fixed as 7,260, and for DES, that is drug eluting stents, it is 29,600. So first of all, we should understand what are these stents and what are bare metal and drug eluting stents. A stent is basically this spring-like metal. So you can see this mesh is there. So this spring-like metal is put into the arteries. So they are there so that the artery can open up. So generally there are blockages because of which the blood flow is affected. So angioplasty is that operation which is done. So in this angioplasty, these stents are inserted. So this balloon is there. So this balloon then blows up, as such inside once it's placed where the blockage is there, and then this stent, because of the balloon expanding in the stent takes its place. So this mesh is the stent. So if it's a bare metal stent, then it's just the metal stent. But sometimes if there's a polymer around it and that will emit, secrete the drug, and this drug will result in again the blockage not happening, then that is called a drug eluting stent. So that is of course much more preferable, and that would be costly as well. So what had come forth in news was these stents were having huge prices on them, and there was a huge amount of cut which was kept for doctors, for hospitals. So when all this came up in news, the government decided, National Pharmaceutical and Price Control Authority, this authority decided that a cap should be placed on the prices of these stents. So this has been the order since February, but now the news is that these the stent manufacturers want the government to apply differential pricing. So bare metal stent, of course, there will be only one type, but then for other types of stents, the drug eluting stent, about what is the quality, what is the innovation used in that, so that there should be varying prices based on what kind of stent it is. So this is their demand. So this will actually bring in innovation and reward quality as such in drug eluting stents. So we'll see what will the government's response to this do. So this is the whole case. You can see the original cost was often in the range of 1,000 to 2,000%. So this much amount was the profit made as such, and the price increase in case of stents. So 1,000% means 10 times the price, actual price. So that was what the patients used to shell out for these stents. So the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, NPPA, has fixed ceilings with effect from Feb 14. So this is the ceiling you can see. So here they want, this is 7,500. Here they want variability depending on what kind of DES, drug-eluting stent it is. And the last news item is 3D printed cartilage may help treat osteoarthritis. So this is a research which has been undertaken for 3D bioprinting. So 3D printing we have already discussed. You should know what is 3D bioprinting too. So in this bioprinting, stem cells are used. So what is 3D printing? First we'll understand that. So this is a manufacturing technology. 3D objects can be printed. So 3D models can be developed. So in printing, generally we have a 2D, a sheet on which the image is or whatever content is printed. So this is 3D object which can be developed. So here the raw material is given as the source. The computer aided design is prepared. So there's an idea, you prepare a design of it, that what will be this 3D model. Through this program you design it. The printer software understands it, and this is the printer, and in which the raw material is given of what material do you want to make this object, that is provided as the source, and based on, you can see, so layer by layer each part is developed. So you can see a laser source sends the laser beam to solidify the material there. So this is the laser source here. So material is placed here and layered parts are prepared based on the design, and then they are fused together, and then you get the 3D object with you. So here the material, raw material can be anything. It can be plastic, polymers, whatever it may be. So here in 3D bioprinting, what is being used are stem cells. So stem cells are collected, and here you can see with precision, these stem cells are placed as such too, and then they are fused, and this results into the complex solid structure being formed as well. You can see. So this is bioink. Here is the cells, the stem cells or the cells of the special organ. The collagens, nutrients are there in which it is placed to, and then the final living tissue is prepared and then used as such. So this news presently is regarding 3D bioprinting. So here what they have done is they have used the stem cells. So stem cells are of course of two types. They can be embryonic stem cells too, from the embryo, unborn child, and they can also be from the adults. So adult stem cells are also there. The bone marrow is said to be one major source of stem cells too. So these adult stem cells, the idea of stem cells is that these are undifferentiated cells. They can divide and multiply themselves. That is also one feature of stem cells, and they are undifferentiated. Undifferentiated means our body is made up of different types of cells. So you must have done in basic biology that cells, organs, tissues. So cells is what our body is made up of, but there are different types of cells. So neurons are nerve cells. So there are different names given, different red blood cells. So what happens is that these stem cells are undifferentiated. Means this is the source material of all different types of cells. So how programming is done, the cell can take that differentiation, can develop that specialization. So this is called pluripotency. So potential. What is the potential? Totipotency means totipotent. When stem cells are totipotent, means that totally potent. Means they can differentiate into any type of cell you want. So of course that is done by programming. And this pluripotency means they have capability to differentiate into multiple types. They have multiple options out of which they can be differentiated into any one. So these pluripotent stem cells actually can then be programmed to have the feature of a particular type of cell, and then it can grow as such. So these, you can see, stem cells are then formed through printing, and then they are treated with growth factors that cause them to differentiate correctly, and they form the cartilage tissue. So presently what is being planned with these stem cells in this present experiment was to form cartilage tissue. So for that cartilage tissue, these stem cells were differentiated accordingly, and it is ready and it can be used to treat osteoarthritis. So cartilage is affected, so this new cartilage tissue prepared can be used. So this is called 3D bioprinting. So this is the revolutionary development which is in news. So these are the news items. Thank you.